So we're going to start with our button. We're going to draw it kind of big and then we'll make it smaller. I'm going to use the ellipse tool. And I'm going to hold down Shift as I click and drag out a circle. That's going to constrain the proportions and make sure I get a perfect circle. We can click back into the ellipse tool. I'm going to hold down Shift again and I'm going to make my first buttonhole. I'm going to edit the line weight here. You can hold Option and click over to create a copy. And then from there, I'm going to hold Option, just once, and then move those down. You can also add a gradient to the center of this to make it look more dimensional. The other thing you can do, which is not on your handout, to align these directly to the center of the circle is I'm going to group them together. And I'm going to hold Shift and select my button. And then I'm going to release Shift and I'm going to click the button again. You see how it highlights in extra bold? I'm going to make sure, show options on the Align tool, which you can get to Window Align, which I already have that pulled up. I'm going to make sure it's aligned to key object. So this is going to align to this. The highlighted one is the key object. And I'm going to center it and center it this way. And now I know that these 4 circles are in the middle of my button. We can go in and draw our thread. So I'm going to use the pen tool and click and drag, click and drag. I will go to my stroke panel and make sure that that has a round end cap. And then I'm going to adjust these so it looks like it's going into the hole there. I can do that again. And I'm using direct select over here. Then we can use the object path outline stroke. I'm going to switch these around, give that a white fill, and change the stroke weight. Next, I'm going to select the button. I want to have a rim to this button, so I'm going to go over to the scale tool and double click. I want to scale it down. We can do 85. Let's preview that. And I'm going to scale, sure, why not? And then we're going to do a copy. So by using the scale tool and making a copy, it automatically centers it in the middle of the previous, of the outer circle. And then if we want, we can also add a nice width profile to the line to give it some more dimension. The next thing I want to do is I want to add a buttonhole. So I'm going to start by just drawing a V shape here. Doesn't necessarily need a fill. I'm probably going to do 0.25 because it's going to be stitching, and then we'll do Effect, Distort and Transform, and Zigzag. So here you want to check Preview. And you're going to adjust the size to make these zigzags more shallow. So here they're shallow. If you make them bigger, they're really wide. And then the ridges per segment. So I want this to be very zigzagged. So I might make this maybe around 30. So you can start there. Maybe we add more ridges. So you can play around with it, see what you like, see what looks good. Buttonholes usually have pretty dense stitching, so I'm going to go there. I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to right-click Arrange, Send to Back. So now we have a nice button. We could group that together. I'm going to make it quite a bit smaller. And zoom in. And to make this easier to work with. So we can do that. That looks pretty good. I'm actually going to make this a symbol. So with this, I'm just going to drag it in. And we can say 4-hole button. You don't really have to do anything with this, but really this is a graphic and it's a static symbol. It doesn't move. If you don't change that, nothing's really going to happen. So you don't really have to worry about that, but I just wanted to let you know what those mean. Which turns it into a symbol, which is nice, so you can grab that whenever you want. And it's nice because it's one object instead of all the anchor points that we had to do to get here. So it just makes it easier to work with. And you can actually pull this symbol up in another file from here if you wanted to. So there's our button. I'm going to stop the recording.